I was listening to a lot of Romeo's dialogue when he's like fawning over Rosaline and then falling over Juliet or whatever. And if that had been modern dialogue, I would be puking.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to Real Shade. It's a podcast about movies that we review in real time, live on YouTube and Twitch. This week, Derry is just a big blank box up in the top left-hand corner. She's just hands in the middle of the screen. Darren's over there in a completely different room, and I've also changed rooms, and we've also been late. But you know what? This week we're here, so forget about the past. We're in the future, and I've been told it's Valentine's Day. So happy Valentine's Day
Who
to all
knew?
those people who are, I don't know, not making podcasts on this merry day. This week we are going to be watching, or we did watch, and now we're going to be reviewing Romeo and Juliet.
Yay!
Now this week I'm not going to be on Derry's side at all. Derry, you're going to have to take a back seat on me agreeing with you, and I think. I don't know if Darren is going to agree with me
You
on
talk
this
like
one.
this is something new. I'm well used to you disagreeing with me.
I know, I've agreed with you the past. Dumb and Dumber, I agree with you. You agree with me on some of those ones. Well, I think we basically agree with all of our, choices. But this week has been horrible. I've regretted it immensely, and I'm regretting even giving you a choice. To be honest with you, Terry. To be honest with you. But this week
And it
we
wasn't
did
even
it.
my turn this week.
No, it was meant to be my turn, but I gave it up because I'm a nice person.
So I was so hell bent on having Romeo and Juliet on Valentine's Day.
Yay, the best version as well. IMDb gave it a 6.7. Well, we'll get to my review. But 1996, Leonardo DiCaprio and some other one, Claire Danes?
Claire Danes.
Claire Danes. Baz Luhrmann, a horrible director, directed this. And
I feel like this clouded your judgment.
no, it didn't need to. It really didn't need to. It was just the cherry on the top of the turd. It was the peanut on the top. And Baz was that person. Like, but who calls himself Baz as well? It's just the worst. Anyway, get beyond that. Imagine being, hey, my name is Baz. I'm like, what a fucking dickhead. Just immediately. Straight away. Hey, did you know I directed Romeo and Juliet? I hate you more. Get out of my sight. So, let's read from IMDb. Shakespeare's famous play is updated to the hip, modern suburb of Venora, still retaining its original dialogue. Wow. Thanks, IMDb. You've basically just said nothing.
Down with the kids.
Yeah.
It basically says, hey, it's about Shakespeare's play, but modern. But it doesn't tell me what it's about. It doesn't actually give me, like...
You're supposed to know, Jamie. Like, it's Shakespeare. Like, duh.
Oh, here's a little bit of a better summary. So, the classic story of Romeo and Juliet, set in the modern-day city of Venora Beach. I guess that's Miami. Is it Miami?
Verona.
Yeah, it
Verona
kind of looks like Miami.
I presume it's Miami. I don't even know, to be honest. I don't know. I would assume it's Miami.
The Montagues and the Capulets are two feuding families whose children meet and fall in love. They have to hide their love from the world because they know that their parents will not allow them to be together. There are obstacles on the way, like Juliet's cousin, Talbot.
Tybalt. Did you even watch the movie?
I really did. I actually really did.
I feel like you had to stop to pronounce Capulet. You had to stop to pronounce Tybalt. Like, it feels like you didn't pay attention to the movie.
You just gave up, Jamie.
I tried to pay attention to a lot in that movie, okay? And I'll get to my gripes in a second. And it's not necessarily this movie's fault. But I'm going to blame it because it's in the crossfires tonight. Tybalt and Romeo's friend Mercutio and many fights.
Mercutio.
Whatever.
Oh,
but
that's it. You're done. You did not pay attention at all.
In modern times, it is still the same timeless story of the star-crossed lovers. Wow, magical. So let's get to why I didn't like it. Just in a little bit of a summary, and then we'll kind of flow through that, and then you guys can go through why you liked it. Maybe we'll give a little bit of a summary why you guys have that opinion. So my opinion is I fucking hate Shakespeare. I don't like it. I like that it was a thing. I don't hate Shakespeare the man. And hey, Derry knows my theory about Shakespeare, so you do, don't you, Derry?
I've gone through so many of your conspiracy theories. Which is the Shakespeare one?
You gotta explain for
realism, okay? People
Okay,
people
yeah,
at home,
yeah.
conspiracy realism. Just look at who Mark Twain wrote a book called "Who is Shakespeare?" Read it. He'll tell you who Shakespeare
Is this
really
about him
was.
stealing all his work?
No. He was basically a person, a crappy, probably, at best an actor, and Francis Bacon and his whole troupe of writing workshop created all of Shakespeare's plays, because the guy couldn't even write his signature. That's a whole other topic. But forget about the man. I just hate modern love of Shakespeare when and then to bring it into this hip hop, 90s down with the kids kind of thing, when like we all know kids at the time couldn't even speak English properly, and I don't think a lot of kids were watching this film.
That's a broad statement.
I don't care, I'm making it. I don't think a lot of kids were watching this for the language in the film. I think they were either watching it for the guns or Leonardo DiCaprio, and that was about it.
Yep.
I had not a notion what was going on. I didn't know what was. I honestly could only reference it by kind of guessing what was happening in the scene. It was too much all at once, and then it was a teenage love story on top of that. Darren, take it away.
He's not going to let me talk, is he?
No, I'm getting to you. You're not even in the camera shot.
I take a drink before I answer that question. Yeah, like you said, man, I didn't have a fucking, like I said that to Darren, I told you, I had no clue. I'd never seen this movie before, so I didn't know what to expect. And I know the story of Romeo and Juliet, but when I stuck on this movie again, I was like, this is not the right movie. This is definitely not the fucking right movie. What's happening right now? I came away from the movie thinking it was a very fucking angry film.
Yeah.
Like, it was very loud. Like, everything was like vroom, vroom, vroom in your face, and like the fucking car chases. And like, only about halfway through the movie, it was I was kind of grasping what the fuck was going on about who was who. And like, when I seen John Leguizamo show up and he's like a Spanish fucking guy I was like, I had no clue. I was like, are they going to shoot? What the? Like, I literally could not grasp what the fuck was happening. And then the guns. So obviously, then the guns are their swords and fucking. Yeah. I get the kind of. But, yeah, like, to me, like, I know Derry, our resident artist, loves Leonardo DiCaprio.
She'll defend it in a second, but you keep going, Darren.
Look, I have to say, I think he was probably the weakest part of the movie.
Am I right? Yeah, he was a wet biscuit. It was really disappointing.
I lie that at Claire Danes' feet. Sorry.
Yeah, Claire Danes wasn't any better, but she was in about 10% of the film, and all she did was look happy or a little bit sad.
I didn't particularly like any of the two of them. I thought they were okay, subtle characters, and not necessarily did subtle characters have to be the best thing in the whole movie, but they certainly, for me, weren't the best in this whole movie. But like, this whole movie had a great cast. There was a fucking great cast in this movie.
Pretty good cast.
Jamie Kennedy
was... Jamie Kennedy was in this. I can't believe it. A starring role.
Yeah. The guy who played oh my god, what's his name? I want to say Mordecai.
Mercutio.
Mercutio. Okay, I'm as bad as you.
Yeah, he was pretty good.
Mercutio. I love him anyway. He's
a pox on your family. That's my favorite line for the whole thing. A pox on a plague on your family.
They go both your houses.
And they're dead.
Like I have to say, I wasn't really taken with the whole movie, and I was like, okay, it's an okay movie. It's good. I understand. I'd say Baz Luhrmann excelled in what he tried to do for this movie. Like, tell the story, but like obviously bring it to a modern day. And I thought it was done very cleverly. I thought with the guns and the swords and the way they use the costume, they use the costume party instead of having them wear like the old kind of clothing and stuff, but
Yeah.
they had it as costumes on. I thought, like, I think Leonardo DiCaprio and Claire Danes did a good job. I think they did as well. Oh yeah, sorry. This is my one gripe in the whole movie. Well, my biggest gripe. Paul Rudd can do fucking anything, but Shakespeare he can't do. I'm sorry.
I
I,
completely forgot I keep on forgetting he's in it. Even when he's in it, I'm like, oh my god, Paul Rudd.
Yeah.
And that's it.
I can take him seriously in anything because I love Paul Rudd. I don't think there's a person on this earth that don't love Paul Rudd, and I've never said that he can't do anything. He's a fucking great actor. Comedy, series, he's brilliant. But he cannot do Shakespeare.
No.
Like, he's being himself and he's not even acting. I'm just like, no, I can't take it apart. And there's a lot of actors who are dead now that I was like, oh geez, like the guy who played the priest, he's amazing. He's fantastic.
He's a great actor in general, and I think he's one of those kind of side characters in a lot of movies. Yeah. My problem with it was the American accents, and it just came off a bit frustrating in that, like, I've seen, like London kids kind of performing, it's like all, hey, blood, Romeo and stuff, Devil kids. And I was like, oh, that just sounds cringy, but it's not as bad as Americans trying to pull it off. It just sounds really forced.
But this is the thing, like, and I think they went like a totally opposite way with it. Instead of trying to update the dialogue, and this is a time when movies were coming out, like 10 Things I Hate About You and Clueless, and they were based on Shakespeare plays as well, but they completely rewrote the movie. Whereas Romeo and Juliet was kind of like, no, we're going to stick with the dialogue, and then
so what did Baz Luhrmann do? He went, how will I make this different? I know, I'll steal a script from hundreds of years ago.
But then completely clash it with this over-the-top, oversaturated visual. And I think that clash is really interesting.
I will allow you, Derry, to defend your point, and I will give you this 5 minutes on the clock.
I'm getting timed this week. Wow, you really... Wow. Look, I love watching this movie. I think this movie looks gorgeous. I love the fact that there's so much colour. I love the little Easter eggs that are dropped in everywhere, like the guns or swords. There's, where they go and play pool. There's the Globe Theatre. All these kind of little things, like little hints and throwbacks to Shakespeare. There's the way that they use the dialogue makes the story really understandable. Obviously, if you're not following the dialogue, it's harder for you to follow the story. But if you can follow the dialogue, I'm not getting through to you at all, am I?
No, it's okay. So I'll say a final point on it, and we'll probably talk about it as we speak about the movie. But it feels like they were told, okay, be angry during this line. Okay, be sad during this line. Be happy during this line. Give it a lot of emotion during this line, because they had no fucking idea what they were saying themselves. I got that feeling that I think there were some things, like, it just felt like Leonardo DiCaprio, the entire thing, he was given it socks. I'll give him that. He didn't pull it off, but he tried his best. And at the end of the day, it just felt like he was like giving all his acting ability, but he could have been saying anything at all. He could have been saying rabble, rabble, rabble. Right?
I don't know. I disagree, because I thought in the everyday kind of dialogue, in the normal conversational dialogue, I thought he was the one that kind of pulled off the most sort of realism. I thought characters like Benvolio and the smaller side characters were more, like you said, kind of just talking.
Yeah.
Repeating the line.
Yeah. And I suppose, to be honest with you, Leonardo DiCaprio didn't really have much to do other than look good for the teenage girls and, I don't know, smoke. He's badass smoking. Hey, kids, smoking's cool in the 90s.
Like, I will say, he to me, as I stick by what I said, he was kind of weak in the movie, but like, I think he's a good enough actor to, well, they all had to understand. I think they all would obviously have to understand their dialogue. But I mean, there's people there that are clearly fucking really into what they were saying.
Kennedy.
Like,
Jimmy Kennedy. No, not that guy. I mean, like, he had no idea what he was saying.
And your man Benvolio, there was a few people there, like, were just worse than DiCaprio in this fucking movie. They were shocked at me, but like I'm not saying I love Leonardo DiCaprio. I think he's a great actor. I think he's a fucking phenomenal actor. Like, and I do think he did a good job in this, what he was working with. Like, but I
I
do
think
agree with you too. I think Leonardo DiCaprio was brought into this because of who he was. I think they knew he'd sell tickets. They knew he'd sell a fucking picture. But like, then again, you could have brought somebody on board that would have totally fucked it up. You know what I mean?
That's what I'm saying. You can tell that Leonardo DiCaprio is such a good actor because, like I said, he could have been saying absolutely anything and still gave it, his all in terms of acting. Like when he's crying, he's really crying.
This is the thing, and that's what I was going to say, is you have to look at the scenes, like especially where he's after killing Tybalt and he's like, just, there's that dead stare close up and like it's just on his face for like 5 seconds, 10 seconds straight. And like, that's just, he's able to hold that. Like, and
I resent teenage emotions, and I hated them when I was a teenager.
You know what?
And I really think they're pitiful now. So
Romeo was like the original emo, so
right. I was never an emo. I never did put my hair like that, and had a bit of a whinge. Never.
No, sweetheart, your hair was longer, but it wasn't far.
I had a long hair. I was some sort of a goth hippie weirdo, whatever people called me at the on the curbside. But the whole point of it is, I felt uncomfortable because they all looked 12, and I was like, why do they have all guns? And I don't know.
Well, Juliet was supposedly 14, I think, isn't it?
Yes, she was.
Yeah, and Paul Rudd getting all that.
Fresh.
Yeah, what the fuck was that? Like, seriously.
You can't knock that though. That's original script. Like, that's not a Baz Luhrmann thing.
Let's dive into it. So we start off with a TV zooming towards the screen. Ooh, and then straight away, okay, so Baz Luhrmann said in an interview about directing that the audience needs to know what is happening in the film in the first 5 minutes. If you don't know what, the audience doesn't know what's happening in the film in the first 5 minutes, you've basically failed, which is a whole load of shit. So that doesn't make any sense to me. But you can see it in this film over and over again. He does it in all his films. It brings a person on the television, a news anchor, talking in this old-timey English, and it's a lot. There's a lot of information, but it's about the story. It explains pretty much the story in and of itself. It goes to Picture Jesus, and then it goes to all the characters. It introduces all of the characters. It kind of flashes up, even like, this is happening for and I was like, stop it, Baz, you're losing me.
I feel like the start was really weird. I would agree with you with that. It felt like it started with a trailer.
This is the 90s, exactly. But that's what I'm saying. That's what Baz Luhrmann likes. He likes to he stuck a trailer at the start of his own movie to say, this is what's happening, this is what to expect. So I'll give him credit where credit's due. I'm surprised that he got Americans to accept a movie like this. With a lot of old English language. Even for the 90s, to get that mainstream was a big thing.
Yes.
Especially in a Western market, especially in an American Western market in the 90s, to have a load of young people going and fawning over Romeo and Juliet.
Yeah. Did this movie do well when it came out? I don't know. Did it do actually well?
It's the reason Leonardo DiCaprio kind of ended up with Titanic and everything. It really it shot him forward.
Yeah, I thought
all that drowning he did. Falling into water. He'd be good in Titanic.
Wet Leo is best Leo.
Fuck's
sake. Not gonna lie, I said Wet Leo is best Leo.
Wet Leo is best Leo. I'll have no misandry on this podcast.
On the t-shirt.
Excuse me.
It's a common theme with Leonardo DiCaprio.
That gorgeous hair of his.
Lovely, lovely hair. We're in the car with Jamie Kennedy and his two friends, who are, I don't know, in a Limp Bizkit music video or something like that. They're auditioning for Sum 41, some with Hawaiian shirts. That's why I think it's in Miami, because they're all wearing Hawaiian shirts.
Yeah, possibly. I can't remember where it's supposed to be.
It's supposed to represent
Now,
somewhere. Yeah.
you're gonna have to forgive me, Derry, because again, I've no idea what the fuck's happening with these people talking to each other. So you're gonna have to fill in the gaps. I'm gonna go along with my idea of what happened in the film, and you tell me if it was right or wrong.
Sure.
So they're hungry. They want to stop out of the garage to get some hot dogs. They get out to get some hot dogs and some petrol. But no, the Spanish people are there with guns. Oh no! Guns and Spanish people, no hot dogs. So a fancy kind of big collared Spanish, would I say like Cuban?
Cuban I'd say more.
Yeah, takes out like a gun, and then he's like, oh, shit's going down. So then people are getting shot. It's at this point you see the camera zoom in on the gun and it says sword, which is, oh my god, how inventive. There's a fight, there's a shootout, and the gas station blows up. Bam! They're two families that don't like each other.
Yes.
The whole West Side Story thing.
Hey, we in Ireland know a lot about families not getting along. And then we get a big zoom out of the city, and we see the Montague big Capitol building and the Capula big Capitol building, and obviously these are two conglomerates, big wealthy families that are rivaling each other, and there's a big statue of Jesus in the middle.
It's visually amazing. Like, I think it's visually fantastic.
It's visually amazing. Like Moulin Rouge.
The colors, but there's a lot going. That's what got me, because like immediately, like you said, Jamie, there's a lot thrown at you from the very start of it. Like, it's really like boom, 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 and it's even when I had the TV down really low, it was so fucking loud. It was like, holy shit. But so much happens in the first 10 fucking minutes of this movie that you're like, right. And I suppose they wanted obviously this to do it, modernize it for the younger audiences, for Leonardo DiCaprio's fans and all that shit. Yeah. Because they didn't want, obviously, because that's why they kept, I think they wanted to try to get two audiences, because I agree with what Darren said. I'm glad they kept the original dialogue. I'm so glad, because they could have just changed it up and they could have just made it a whole new fucking film, but they kept the essence of what you didn't like that, no?
I would have preferred it to be modern dialogue with hints of old-timey dialogue, ye oldie language. Like maybe Romeo is obsessed with Shakespeare and he prefers to speak not exactly like that, and maybe his gang prefers to kind of have that twang of it.
But see, this is the thing, right?
It wouldn't be Shakespeare's Romeo and Juliet then.
No, it wouldn't be, because it isn't.
But that's what I was saying, right? You have movies at the time like 10 Things I Hate About You that did exactly that. Yes. You know, they brought in sonnets from Shakespeare and poetry and all that kind of stuff. That's exactly what 10 Things I Hate About You did. But the thing about Romeo and Juliet is it flipped that kind of remake idea on its head and kept the dialogue while still giving you that kind of modern twist. And I think that's the hook, that's the gimmick with it. And I enjoy that.
Yeah, and that's fine. I'm not saying it's a bad gimmick, and I appreciate the inventiveness of it. It just falls flat for me, because it just feels like I'm watching one film and hearing another film. It feels like there's a film going on behind me, and I'm watching like a 90s drama.
I was listening to a lot of Romeo's dialogue when he's like fawning over Rosaline and then falling over Juliet or whatever. And if that had been modern dialogue, I would be puking. Like, it's so disgustingly emo and disgustingly, like you were on about teenage emotions. It's disgusting. But the hook is that because it's Shakespearean language, you can kind of forgive it.
Do you think DiCaprio?
So here's the fork that I have in that logic, is that, okay, Baz Luhrmann either was so creative that he decided everybody will love this, or he's such a good businessman that he said, we'll even get the people that hate this soppy shit. And I think he went with the second one. I think he was being anyway creative by going, hey, see this? Yeah, that was written 300 years ago, Baz. Yeah, but look, Leonardo DiCaprio's in it now. Oh my God, he's $1 million maker. Like, it just...
I
it
will
just...
say, I don't love this movie for Leonardo DiCaprio. That is not the reason that I love this movie.
Yeah.
Just putting that out there. I do enjoy this movie for the movie that it is.
I like the visuals. I love the visuals.
I hate soppy shit. I hate romance movies. I hate girly movies. I hate all of that stuff. I really love this movie for the look and for the way it was interpreted.
No, I don't mind.
Well,
I like soppy shit girly movies, but like this part of that movie, Romeo and Juliet, I didn't like.
I hate girly soppy movies. So I'm automatically not in the field for this. I'm not a big fan of it. They're all very similar, and it's all about love. So if you're not, hey, love's great. There's nothing wrong with love. But if you're not a big lover of love, yeah, it's a film about golf.
And God, this is...
I have no problem with golf. I know who Tiger Woods is. That's about it.
This is the perfect movie for you. Fucking hell.
It's a movie about teenagers falling in love. Wow. That happens.
Yeah, okay, but you can't blame the movie for that. It's the story.
Hey, and it's not...
I'm not going to let you pick apart the story because the story is a Shakespeare story.
But
so you can't take that in context with the movie.
I can't attack the story, and that's not a defense for the movie either. So let's not talk about the story at all, which I've decided to do in all of this. This is going to be my review.
What I mean is you can't attack Baz Luhrmann for the story that already existed.
No, because it's not Baz Luhrmann's story, and I hope Baz Luhrmann would admit that.
Oh, Shakespeare is credited.
Yeah, exactly. I have no problem with the story. The story is so basic that it's 300 years ago basic. It's so basic that it's been done to death. So I'm not picking apart the story. My problem is with it. People thinking, how intelligent, and I'm thinking it just feels like they just copy pasted Shakespeare onto a modern film and then went, ching ching.
Yeah, but who else did that?
And that's fine, but I don't feel like giving it as much credit as everybody seems to give it.
That's what most movies are doing nowadays. Most movies are taking like heaps of shit and making crap movies, making millions of dollars. But on credit to Baz Luhrmann, he decided to take a fucking Shakespeare, which he knew was going to be... Well, if he took, as I said again, if he took a Shakespeare movie and didn't have DiCaprio in it, it wouldn't have... I don't think it would have made as much money.
Ewan McGregor was supposed to be in it. It was going to happen either way. And like I said, I'm not a fan of this movie for Leonardo DiCaprio. That's just a bonus.
Yeah. A wet bonus.
A dripping.
Let's not go there. DiCaprio. Boner. What are we talking about again, guys? No. I have no problem with Shakespeare. I like Shakespeare.
Hang on a second. You started this podcast by saying I hate Shakespeare.
No, I hate the man Shakespeare.
That's what I was saying.
But I said, beside the man. Put the man beside, because forget about the man. I like Shakespeare in context. So I like Brian Blessed. If he was to do any Shakespeare, absolutely, I'd watch that all day long. But it isn't that. It's a trap. It's a trap.
Right.
Because it makes me want to think it's intelligent when it isn't. It makes me want to think it's visually appealing when it is, but, well, I can't really say anything bad about that, really. The camera's a bit crap. I'll say that. Cinematography's not great. How about that?
What?
What? So, let's get along.
Yeah, I was going to say, let's move.
Leonardo DiCaprio's cousin is in the car with the head of the family.
Yeah. Montague.
And
he's dad.
He's basically saying, "Oh, some stuff happened and he's fine." I don't know what was happening. What was happening during that scene, Darren?
Basically, they were talking about how emo Romeo is because he darkens his bedroom, he cries at sunset, and he writes poetry.
Darkens his bedroom?
Yeah, basically, like, pulls the curtains, doesn't let daylight in, blah, blah, blah.
Oh, right.
So they're basically talking about the fact that Romeo is emo and depressed, and they want to know why he's depressed, and the dad hasn't figured it out, so he's hoping that Benvolio will have more luck figuring it out.
I'll hazard a guess. I think it's for a little bit of poontang. I think
Well,
that's
yeah,
what
they
he's
do
sad
take the
about.
piss out of him in the pool hall about Rosalind, and that's where you're introduced to Rosalind, who is actually Juliet's cousin. So he's already in love with a Capulet girl.
So like it's so fickle from the start. So we get to Paul Rudd. Oh no, wait, we get to Leonardo DiCaprio,
Oh,
and
yeah.
they have a bit of a conversation on the beach, and then we get to Paul Rudd. We see the head of the family, and he's introduced as basically being the person that Juliet should be marrying or should be going with.
Yes.
But he doesn't even look like he fits in this movie. I just can't get my head around it.
He's so very clean cut.
Like he's like a man baby.
Yeah.
I can't look. As I said to you, I'm the biggest fucking fan of Paul Rudd in the world, and as many people that could not pull off. Well, what's his name was Benvolio. I fucking couldn't stick him either. And like, just he was like somebody that is, like you said, Jamie, was just given lines and just told him, right, you need
Yeah,
to be
I
angry.
agree with that.
There's no emotion. There was no actually like acting went into his fucking parts. He just said the lines. And then what killed me is when he was having a fucking face off at Mercutio and they were having to take the guns and Mercutio was fucking doing an amazing fucking performance. That's later on. We'll talk about that. But like, Paul Rudd is not. He's not a Shakespearean actor. Let's just say that.
The funny parts in it, he tried to do the funny parts, like when he was dressed up as an astronaut and he was doing that dance. Those are bits where I was like, oh, there's Paul Rudd being Paul Rudd. But the rest of it was just like, what the fuck?
It's like he wandered onto the set and they just said, stay there.
You'll do.
Yeah, you're funny enough. You're fine. You were in Wet Hot Summer, so you're funny. You can be in that. So.
Oh,
then
wasn't he in
we go
Clueless
to the
as
pool
well?
hall.
He was in Clueless as well, wasn't he?
I think he was in Clueless, yeah.
Yeah.
And he was also, was he in like Friday the 13th or something, like one of those films, like Freddy Krueger from it?
I'm just saying, wasn't Clueless like a Shakespeare adaptation as well?
Yes, it was, yeah.
And has Paul Rudd, so.
Yeah.
See,
that's the thing. Like, wow, Baz Luhrmann, you're so inventive for like the seventh person having done it, and you fucking sold someone's script as well. What was another one? 10 Things I Hate About You. That was one, wasn't it?
Yeah.
I have no clue. I'm not a big.
That was Heath Ledger.
Yeah.
That was his.
I only ever did one Shakespeare play. It was A Midsummer Night's Dream, and
they should do that.
10 Things I Hate About You was Taming of the Shrew.
Oh.
Yeah, they just get a bit of string and they go, yeah.
Yeah.
So they're in a pool hall then, and they're having a chat about girls, I think.
Yeah.
See, that's the thing. I have no idea what the fuck they're talking about. I'm like, they're probably chatting about girls. So they're chatting about girls.
That Romeo is so in love. He's heartsick over Rosalind, basically.
Oh, poor Rosalind.